So it was 2010, and I just graduated from Widener University. And upon graduation, I was able to land a job making almost $60,000 a year just 2 years after the recession has ended. With that came obvious perks such as a brand new, well, used to me, but new car, as well as the girl of my dreams. And it seemed that in that moment, everything I could ever want was right there in my hands. And that's when things began to go wrong. You see, it started one day when I was on my way to work, when my car began to overheat. Now, the programmer in me thought the probability of this car actually breaking down were slim to none. But the mechanic in me was completely wrong. Needless to say, the car stalled out. And I start walking the next half mile to work. It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning yet when I get a call from that beautiful girlfriend of mine telling me she thinks it's best that we go our separate ways. That sucked. But it didn't suck any more nor less than when I got to work to be tapped on my shoulder by my manager, informing me the company's now downsizing, and with me being the newest employee, I'm now without a job. 24 hours, everything I thought I ever wanted seemed to escape my grasp without me ever letting go. And that's when I want to pose a question to you all today. By show of hands, how many people could say at one time or another, everything you ever wanted, you had it? The new car, job, relationship, okay? Now I need you to keep your hands up for a second, please. As I ask this second question, how many people could say after getting what it is that you wanted, it escaped your grasp without you letting go? Your car broke down, you lost your significant other, it happens. And scan the room for a second, and you'll see you're not alone. And please don't be embarrassed or shy for if you look up here. It's definitely happened to me. And it's in that moment that we want to quit. We want to give up. We're not sure which way to turn. And right when I was on the verge of just completely giving up, I knew I had to find a place of happiness, and I wasn't going to find it there. So the next sensible idea I had was to move to China. That's what my family did. I shared with my family this news, and they all thought it was pretty stupid. I don't know the language, and I wouldn't have anyone to support me in my time of need. And had I let them impose their limitations onto me, I would have never went searching for something that I knew would be so much more fulfilling in my life. So to China I went. And the first year went pretty smooth. Made new friends, moved on a college campus, even a new love interest. Things were getting good. And right there as I got to the peak of happiness, it happened again. This time, it came in the form of school administration. They told me that due to the fact that I'm not attending enough classes, I now have to leave campus. So within a year time period, everything that I thought I wanted, it escaped my grasp again. And that's when I encountered 3 problems that I believe that most people here can relate to. You see, the first problem was being kicked off campus. And a lot of you are thinking, well, I'm not in school anymore. How can I relate there? But similar to when I lost my job a year ago, that comfort zone that I built around me was now gone. The thing I was used to doing every day, all the time, is now gone. And I had to find a new comfort zone or campus. And as I'm in search for my new campus, that's when I encountered problem number 2. The problem number 2 was a language barrier. And you're thinking to yourself, what language barrier? You see, when I left campus, everyone spoke English. Outside, everyone spoke Mandarin. And you're right, we all speak English here, right? Yeah, we speak English, but think about going from one relationship to another, or better yet, from one career field to another. The terminology you're going to use, the concepts you're going to use, let's say as a programmer or a mechanical engineer, are going to be completely different. And I would love to say it's going to be easy to overcome, something you're going to overcome really quickly, but that's a lie. You see, it took me several months of spending several hours at a store where I met 3 ladies, asking them every day, what is this? 眼睛, 头发, 嘴巴, 裤子. And after doing this every day for almost 4 months, I was able to finally walk into McDonald's and say, "我要吃麦乐鸡和发茄酱," which means I want chicken nuggets and ketchup. And after 8 months of doing this, I was finally able to make a friend on my own. And you're thinking, well, I don't necessarily need to make a friend, but it's through different friendships that you start building relationships, which is problem number 3. For these relationships that we foster, it's going to build a network, which is going to help push you up where you couldn't get there on your own. And the way it looked for me, I first got a job from a friend teaching other people's children how to speak English. Fun fact, I don't like other people's children. After that, I got a job teaching at a university. And at the university, though I still did not like teaching, I was honing that language skill. My Mandarin was getting better. And then I got a job from one teacher whose husband owned an import-export company. This is when things began to get cool. See, while I was working at this import-export company, I met several different clients. One in particular name was Mr. Tim Taylor. Mr. Taylor and I, we started building a friendship and a really close relationship together, and I pitched the idea of opening a bar. You see, I recalled as a child I liked starting different businesses, and I couldn't think of any better opportunity than now. After 4 months, we had 12 waitresses, 3 bartenders, and a bar manager. Spoiler alert, I think I found my china. And after finding my china, 2 years later in selling my bar, all the experiences I gained, all the entrepreneurial spirit I got inside of me, I would love to say I came back to America and actually started a business, but nope, I got a job. See, I looked at what everyone else thought was comfortable, what was safe, what would work for me, and I did that for the next 6 months. And during this time, I was a bit frustrated, sad, maybe even depressed at times. And in that moment, I wasn't sure what to do. But luckily, I was reunited with my high school sweetheart. And she saw how upset I was at this job, and she saw how well I spoke of China. So she suggested maybe we should go back and visit China for 3 weeks. We went back. I saw old friends. I saw old colleagues. I saw my bar was still standing. My China came rushing back to me. I was happy. So when I came back from China this time, I started my business, Nerd It Now. And in the beginning, it was difficult, very difficult. I wanted to quit. I wasn't getting many clients, but after my first one, I'm like, it can work. But then my second client started changing things for me again. This client name was Mr. Kaplan. And as I'm sharing my hardships with him, he told me, similar to me, he too had to find his China. The way it looked for him, 30 years ago, he lost his wife. And when he lost his wife, he was depressed and lost his job. No job meant he lost his home. And in that moment of pain, he didn't know which way to turn, but he knew he had to leave that situation. So to New York City he went. And while in New York City, he started to teach himself how to draw. For he recalled as a child, he liked to draw. And in his adult life, he was a contractor. He fused it together and started practicing to become an architect. Look at this. He left this campus, taught himself a new language, and then he started building different relationships. Through these relationships, Mr. Kaplan, after a decade, was able to finally get a job as an architect. Today, he's a successful architect, helping build skyscrapers in New York City, as well as apartment complexes all over. Like me, Mr. Kaplan has found his China. And what you need to understand is finding your China does not necessarily mean going to China. But what it does mean is overcoming that challenge that's within you, separating you from true happiness. For today, had I not found my China, I would still be working a 9-to-5 job in a career field that I absolutely hated, with a subpar car, pursuing a girl that was not truly meant for me. Instead, I'm the owner of my business, Nerd It Now, which came with a boasting fleet of vehicles, including an ambulance, better than any subpar car I could have ever asked for. All the while being blessed with my high school sweetheart, turned wife, now carrying my child. So as we sit on the edge of our seats right now thinking, now what? It's quite simple. I think it's time that you too go find your China. Thank you.